How was dinner with your family and Ronna McDaniel last night?
It was, well, she said she refused to pay the bill because I'm not going to get another cent from the RNC.
Yeah, I saw that.
Can you believe
she
this?
say that? Can she say that?
I mean, not legally. I mean, if you think about your duty is not your money.
Yeah.
It's not your money, right? And so, I don't know if you think people know what we're already
This is the
talking
story
about.
you're talking about right here,
Yeah,
right?
people already know what we're talking about.
He's an asshole,
yeah.
total asshole.
So just so people, if they didn't watch the debate the other night or whatever, I am a believer in accountability. Okay, so this woman is appointed chair of the RNC, Republican National Committee, in 2017. Let's just do the math. It's not that complicated. 2018, loss. 2020, loss. 2022, no red wave. 2023, bad trouncing. So insanity is expecting a different conclusion unless you're going to make a change. This is the person who's running the Republican National Committee. So that had happened the night before the debate, the 2023 trouncing. So I went on stage and said what nobody else, every other candidate's supposed to delicately tiptoe around the genteel norms of the RNC. And it's not like I surprised her with this, okay? We actually, I haven't talked about this before. So we had a debate walkthrough. You kind of go through in the morning of. I'm not making this up. It's like, I wish there was no cameras around in there. We can catch this. She comes in, she's just like trying to give me a hug. I'm like, I'll give you a handshake. And I was just like, how are you doing? And she's like, how are you doing? I was like, not great. I mean, the election didn't go very well last night. She's not great given last night. And I'm not even kidding you. Here's what she says. What happened last night?
Oh my God.
No, I'm not kidding. So I thought she was joking. So I'm just like, yeah. She's like, no, but seriously, what happened last night? And then she got kind of combative about it.
Who's around when this is happening?
Oh, like people from NBC, other like staffers from the Republican
She came
Party.
to want to give you a hug. You said, I'll give you a handshake.
Yeah. So I'll give you a handshake.
Have you guys had any feud prior to this or no?
No, but I believe in, well, we have, not multiple actually. Because it's not personal. It's the failure of how she leads this party. I mean, number one, at the start of this race, I said, release the debate stage criteria so you don't play games later. I believe that played a role. And she was just like, no, but they actually released it earlier than they did last time around because I believe I called on them to. So they released it at least earlier. So I gave credit where credit was due when they at least responded. First, she was like, no, we're not going to do it. We're staying radio silent. But I believe I had an impact on that, and I gave credit where credit was due. So that loop was closed. Then Fox calls me after the second debate and Chris Christie and say, hey, would you spar with Chris Christie or have a dialogue, open dialogue, since the second debate, I mean, the unspoken reality is that was useless. So I said I would do it. The night before, Ronna McDaniel calls me on my cell phone and says, you will be disqualified from the next debate if you participate in this discussion with Chris Christie. I said, Ronna, how does this advance the interests of the GOP? Like the GOP voter base. How is the GOP voter base better off if we hear less debate between the candidates? Explain that to me. She has no good explanation, but regardless, that raised some of my recent sparring with her in public. But this has nothing to do with me and her. What happened on the night before the debate was the Republican Party nationally got trounced. And everybody, if
destroyed. Kentucky.
totally destroyed.
Everybody.
Virginia, I mean, kind of Ohio, you just go, these are red states, okay? Oh, Kentucky and Ohio, certainly. And so I'm walking in. This is the morning after that trouncing. This is the chairwoman of the Republican National Committee. She's coming. She's like, hey, how are you? I'm like, I'll give you a handshake. She's like, how you doing? I said, not that well, given that last night didn't go very well. She said, what happened last night?
Like oblivious.
Is she saying it jokingly?
No, she's saying it almost angrily, right? Because I was like, the last night didn't go well. It's like she's challenging me. She says, well, what happened last night?
Oh, okay.
Like, what happened last night? I don't know what happened last night. Tell me what happened last night. Yeah. And I'm just like, this is the person who's accountable for running the Republican Party. I said, we lost the election. She said, we have nothing to do with that.
Really?
I run the National Party. These are state races. We have nothing to do with that. So where's and then says and then starts to like escalate her voice and says, I refuse to fall on the sword for this one. I refuse to fall on the sword for this one. This is not my fault. And it's like, okay, clearly she's been criticized.
How many
all day
minutes
for
before
this.
you hit the stage is this happening?
Oh, this is like early. This is in the morning, right?
Okay,
like
it's
around
pre-game,
lunchtime.
prep, yeah.
You kind of go
I got you.
through.
Walk
They
through.
show you where you're going to be
Yep.
standing. Here's your microphone. So that's where this happens. So it's not like I surprised her on the stage.
Got it.
All right, she knew where I'm at on this.
She had already had a long morning with this topic.
Oh, of course, and should. I mean, 2018 loss, 2020 loss, 2022 no red wave, 2023 trouncing, total drubbing for the Republican Party. This is the individual who's the national chairwoman. She runs the entire Republican National Committee. Where's the accountability? So I get on stage and you're getting some standard, beaten dead old horse Donald Trump question. I said, forget that. Let's talk about what happened last night, because the last 2 elections he's been out, Republicans have gotten trounced for different reasons. So stop blaming the boogeyman. There's an accountability problem within the Republican Party. And so I say on stage that Ronna McDaniel, if she wanted to come up on stage, and I meant it, if she did want to come up on stage, debate stage time is valuable, but I would still yield my time to her if she wants to use the microphone, look the American people in the eye, and say she resigns, which would be good for the Republican Party, and I believe she should resign. So what does she say? So then the press reports there's people apparently sitting in her row or behind her row in front of her, where she is, think about this, the neutral arbiter of the Republican National Committee later in the debate when I'm sparring with other candidates, booing when I'm speaking, clapping against other candidates when they're speaking against me. So
she was booing?
Yeah.
Who was booing?
She's booing me at other points in the debate. And I don't care about that, but think about your dereliction of duty. Yeah. You're supposedly the neutral arbiter of the entire National Republican Party hosting a debate. It's like a referee cheering in the middle of a game between two teams. It doesn't make sense. Like if the referee is like booing or hollering in favor of one team or the other, that's what that looks like if she's the arbiter. Then she's saying during the breaks, and this is as reported by the press, so I wasn't there, but it's apparently sources who are around her, reported by multiple sources in the press, saying that I would not get another cent from the RNC.
Yep.
So think about what that means. That means she believes that's her money. Right? These are donations she's collected from other people, but somebody said a mean thing about her, and it's not even a mean thing about her. Someone said that we need accountability in the Republican Party, that this person who has failed us 4 times in a row, that there needs to be some accountability. She says, if he says that about me, then this money that I have been a steward for, a fiduciary for, that I'm not going to give a cent to him because he said something that I didn't like about me. That's a conflict of interest. So then I get a question after the debate in the press room. I don't know who it came from, but I'm presuming it's from one of the RNC aligned people, which is, how come you would go on Ronna's stage, on her stage is what they said, on her stage and criticize her like that? My response is, that's not her stage, and that's the problem with this party. It doesn't belong to these corrupt establishment political creatures. It belongs to the voters and the people of this country, and that's where the Republican Party is badly mixed up.
Question for you.
So no, dinner didn't go well.
But I assume you know her last name, her maiden name.
Romney.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think she embodies it.
Let me ask a question. When she says you can't, go debate Christie, then how is she okay with DeSantis debating Newsom?
Because it's corruption, man.
You think that's what it is?
Absolutely, it's corrupt. Because the people who are propping up Ron DeSantis, like the super PAC money, all of that's doing up. And it's not criticizing Ron or not criticizing. It has nothing to do with it. It's just the system is, there's tens and tens of millions of dollars in a system where supposedly the max you can give to a campaign is $3,300. The people who have lobbied and gotten their special favors from, and it's not just Ron, it's the way politics works, that those people are the big donors to the Republican Party. And Ron is debating another candidate who's running for U.S. president, that is called Gavin Newsom, and the man who's running for U.S. president, flying around doing. The funny thing about this is Gavin Newsom is not running for U.S. president in the same way that Ron DeSantis was not running for U.S. president, jaunting around on public money and private jets on matters that have nothing to do with the state. That's what Gavin Newsom is doing now. And as I said on the debate stage as well, to the Democratic Party, I call it Republicans, Democrats evenly. I call it Democrats more. Be honest, Joe Biden's not going to be the nominee. So who's it going to be? Put up whichever other person it's going to be so we can have an honest debate. But Ron is able to have that full-on debate on the same network, Fox. But if they're calling me, I think what happened is at a certain point in the race, around late summer, initially they're saying, oh, yeah, young guy, okay, check the box. We got, a lot of boxes he checks for us. We get to say that this guy ran in the Republican Party, young guy, different generation, first generation, whatever. Okay, we checked that box. Oh, wait, he's not going away when he's supposed to, right? The other no-name candidates, and I was initially a no-name candidate too, the other no-name candidates had no chance of making the first debate. They're all off. Nobody really paid attention to them. Wait, this guy's sticking around. And then, wait, he's saying some things that the establishment that has an allergic reaction to Trump, wait, he sounds a little bit like that. No, this isn't supposed to happen again. No, stop it. Okay, it was cute while it lasted. Like, make it stop. That's sort of where they were. And so I think there has been a concerted effort amongst the donor establishment class that has convened private summits with the Haley campaign, the DeSantis, the Scott campaigns, Pence, and others, Christie. I'm the only person other than Trump that's not, invited to these closed-door forums. There's certain debates we want Ron DeSantis to get his airtime. You do it, we're going to disqualify you from the next debate. And then you get to the place where now, if you're critical of that party, she says, we're not going to use that because she doesn't like what I said, it's a personal conflict of interest, is going to say you don't get another cent from the RNC. So in a certain sense, they prove my point about the corruption to say that they view this as their money, to treat it in a way that they're going to pick whoever their favorite horses are.
Yeah, that's very strange because the voter, I'm sitting there saying, and I even asked the governor, I said, why are you debating Newsom? I think a year ago made sense. I think right now makes no sense for the two of you guys to debate. But Rob, do you have the clip of Ronna McDaniel being confronted about what Vivek said and what her response is? And she said, I'm not the one running for president. Play this clip if you could.
There were allegations that were thrown on the stage by one of the candidates in particular, arguing that the Republican Party has a culture of losing. Specifically, Vivek Ramaswamy called for you to resign. Would you like to respond to that?
I'm going to focus on beating Joe Biden. I wish that's what all the candidates did. I'm not running for president. I'm very proud of the fact that under my tenure, we won back the House. We now are getting investigations into the Bidens. I also, as Michigan chair for the first time in 30 years, won a state that Democrats hadn't been in. I'm very proud of the fact that we're going to have staff in 15 states heading into 2024. But, I'll leave other people to attack Republicans. I'm going to focus on Democrats. I will say this. We can't attack each other and win. We need all of us.
So actually,
you can pause it at this point.
I have a comment on that, which
it.
is really funny. I hadn't seen this interview. I saw a different interview she did on Fox or Fox Business where literally, that was yesterday morning, she's going on air, national conservative audience, and literally just stated as a fact that Vivek voted for Obama.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
100%. I just confirm it for you. 100% false. Never voted for Obama in my life. So you have the chair of the RNC saying, I'm not going to criticize the Republicans, and then go on national TV, say one of the Republican presidential candidates who you were booing in the middle of the debate. Oh, you have that one?
It's 11 seconds. You can play the clip.
Oh, you guys
I
are on top
texted
of
it
this,
to
man.
you.
You guys already, yeah.
There's footage of
Maybe
her
I saw
booing.
it after you actually. So that was press reports of people who were sitting in her row commenting on the fact that she said that there's going to be not 1 cent to me from the RNC, fiduciary violation.
This money situation, not 1 cent. How does it actually get divvied up? Because you're the only candidate out there that has made their money as an entrepreneur. So you don't need their money.
To tell you the truth, I have no idea how the hell all of this sausage making works because I've basically said screw the system. Now, what does that cost me? 8-figure sums of my wealth that we're putting into this campaign. 15, 16 plus million bucks already, putting in millions more. It's going to be tens of millions of dollars, certainly by the time we're done. We're going to stop at nothing. But that's the cost of saying screw you to a corrupt system that otherwise wants you to behave like their circus monkey, which I refuse to. But the point is, this is a person who's running the RNC, managing other people's money, and saying that because you said something I don't like, I'm not going to give you 1 cent, then goes on national TV and spews. I mean, it's just a straight up factual falsehood, right? Vivek voted for Obama. Is it false? Yes, it is. Is it damaging? Yes, it is. Is it done with malicious intent for the person who was booing at me and saying those things? Yes, it was. Now, am I going to go after her because I have better things to do in my life? Probably not, right? But this is corrupt stuff.
Well, in the first debate,
play this real quick because it's 11 seconds. Go ahead, Rob.
I know Vivek's kind of newer to the party. He voted for Obama, so he may not know that.
Look at her. She just flat out says I voted for Obama. It is a lie. I mean, look at this woman. Bold-faced, getting up there, loses 4 elections for the Republican Party, pathetically going up, literally just looking the American voters, Republican voters in the eye, and telling them a bold-faced lie. I mean, you just play that. I just want people to hit a clip again because I don't want that I'm putting words in her mouth.
I know Vivek's kind of newer to the party. He voted for Obama, so he may not know that.
I mean, this is that is a lie. This woman with an iota of basis.
Is there a way to prove that so she loses?
Yeah, actually, there's a way to prove it.
Okay.
He has voting record,
the fact
right?
the voting record. So actually, I was so disillusioned, and I've talked about this. I voted Libertarian when I was young in my first election. Then I got so disillusioned from politics that it's actually public record that in both of those elections, I don't like John McCain, and I didn't like Barack Obama, and I didn't like Mitt Romney, and I didn't like Barack Obama. So I actually didn't vote in those elections. I sat him out. I'm not particularly proud of that. I was in my 20s. I understand why many people are disillusioned from politics. I was disillusioned back then too. I voted for the Libertarian candidate back in 2004, and then I basically said, "Screw this. This is a. I have better things to do with my life. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I could care less about politics." Yeah. But then came back around to it later. But literally, that is now public record, actual false lie.
Yep.
Flat, bold-faced lie to the American people, say they won't give money. And so that proves the corruption. So that's the Ron McDaniel corruption. But then I decided when I was on stage, okay, I'm wasting too much time on this stuffed suit of a bureaucrat running the RNC. Let's focus on the real problem, which is the equivalent, the Ron McDaniel of media. There's many of them. Kristen Welker, sitting right there from NBC News. And there's a connection between the two because who decides to put up the Kristen Welkers of the world to moderate a Republican debate? It's none other than the RNC, the failed establishment that Ron McDaniel has run that's lost its last 4 major cycles relative to what it was supposed to do. So it's almost proof sitting on that stage.
Vivek, back to the money question. I don't know if people saw
the rest of that. So that's why, I mean, it is almost, they're repeatedly proving my point based on the kind of debate they were hosting and the moderators they hired, to the things she's saying in the audience during the debate, to booing me during the debate, to now saying that false things on national television.
Who do you think would be a good RNC? Who would be a good RNC? Any
good question. Yeah. So so let's brainstorm this.
Kirk said you would be somebody like you would be very good.
So Kirk said look, I'm in this to be the president of the United States.
Right.
And I think that I can lead the country best from that position. But Charlie said that about me.
Yeah.
Well, I'll return the compliment to him. I think he could actually do a good job of it.
Kirk
I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy, actually. I mean, he's from a different generation.
They would not let him do it.
I mean, that's almost a credential. So whoever they shouldn't let do it, that should be a requirement for whoever does do it to actually get put in that place. I mean, Harmeet Dillon, very good. She ran against Ronna McDaniel. She's competent. She's a lawyer. She understands, and I think the lawyer thing helps because there's an element to running the elections in a way that's competitive, that you make sure it's actually run fairly for the Republicans to be able to compete. So Harmeet Dillon has a good background. There's this guy, Scott Pressler, who's, I don't know if he's a Republican activist. He's nowhere on the radar of the Republican National Committee, but he's a guy I've gotten to know, talked to him from time to time, tried to be very helpful in some of the other elections that have played out in the last couple of years, but a grassroots activist that has actually focused on the way elections are run. So Scott Pressler, Harmeet Dillon. I mean, these are all good people. I mean, I assume Charlie wasn't serious when he suggested me, but I would say in the similar spirit.
I saw somewhere him saying, by the way, there's a video of you talking to somebody. Were you talking to her or no? At the end of the debate, that's somebody else.
To my knowledge, I haven't talked to Ronna since after the debate. There's a lot of people piling in, so if she was in that throng screaming something senselessly.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.